Hey guys, welcome back to the channel.
So today we're going to be doing a video about home brewing, more specifically common mistakes that people might make when they brew at home.
Yep, and we're here to give away some tips and advice. Hopefully it will help you guys to improve your brewing at home. We should probably start with the coffee beans.
So you've probably heard that fresh is best, and I think that's a common misconception that everybody has.
Yeah, when they first get into coffee, they're like, oh, I should probably buy something really fresh.
So that is actually not necessarily good. If the coffee is too fresh, you actually don't really taste anything. There's too much carbon dioxide stuck in the beans from roasting. So when you're trying to brew your coffee, there's too much gases inside. So the water isn't able to go into the beans and bring the flavors out.
You want it to let it rest, let it settle down before you actually brew the coffee.
So if you can, from the roast date, leave it at least 5 days.
Yeah, for me, 5 days.
In saying that, you still need to store your beans well.
Some coffee bags will have a ziplock on it, so you can just ziplock and then you're all good to go. To keep the coffee fresh, always get whole beans. If you don't have a hand grinder or an electric grinder, then maybe get a smaller bag of coffee beans.
But otherwise, whole beans, just keep it in an airtight container and keep it away from the sunlight.
Yep.
You might think that you just kind of get any beans, like a blend or medium dark roasted, supermarket beans.
Yeah, because a lot of people got no idea there's a single origin beans to buy.
If you're doing soft brew, the best beans for that, hands down, is to get light roasted single origin.
Yep. Always weigh your coffee.
Don't use scoops. I know a lot of recipes, they'll be like, oh, put 1 scoop of this. But 1 scoop of really fine coffee is different to 1 scoop of coarse coffee.
Yep.
The weight of them is different.
Someone told us before, oh, I can eyeball how much coffee I use. But I mean, yes, you can, you may, but
there's only
no,
certain situations where we wouldn't use a scale, and that's if we were traveling and we just couldn't be bothered bringing a scale.
Yeah.
But we do have a small traveling scale just to...
No, it doesn't matter how many times you brew.
It's human error. What you kind of eyeball today is going to be different to tomorrow, even though it looks the same to you.
I mean, I can't eyeball it because
the beans are different as well.
Yeah,
some
different
are bigger
beans.
Some are smaller.
Different bean
beans.
size. Yeah, I would recommend always weigh up your coffee. If you don't have a scale, what are the hacks?
The hack is to get a scale.
Any scale will do.
Just get a cheap $10 scale from the warehouse. You just need something like a kitchen scale.
Once you're sure of you loving coffee, then move on to the second step. Get a proper coffee scale. Yeah, what's coffee scale?
What?
Yeah, compared to a kitchen scale.
Basically just really bougie.
Timer
you
next
have
to
a
it.
timer in it alongside with the weight, but that is not really necessary. You can just use the timer on your phone.
Yeah, don't jump into getting a whole lot of gear before you actually know that you're into brewing.
I don't think there's a hack for it. You definitely need a scale, because how else are you gonna track your brewing? But if we were to give a hack, if you really don't have a scale and you don't have any way of getting one, then what you can do is just try and keep it consistent. So for example, if you have this 1 scoop that you use to scoop the coffee, then always stick to that.
And always same grind size. You can go to your local coffee shops and ask them to weigh up the coffee in that scoop, and then you get an idea of how much coffee is in that specific scoop.
Yeah, if you have baking measurements, have a cup. What's that, 250 mils or something?
Yeah.
Use that to measure, and then you can boil that water, and then you'll know that's 250 mils.
Yeah.
You can just use stuff like that, you know what I mean? Always rinse the paper filter.
Yeah, if you guys are using a V60, anything that with paper filters, always rinse it.
I don't care what you say. There is a paper taste to it.
Yeah, taste it.
Do the paper test, honestly.
Yeah, just rinse it and then drink the water from the silver and then tell us what you think. I'm sure there's papery flavor in the water, so if you don't rinse your paper, you'll be losing water while you're pouring it, right?
Because it's going up to the paper.
Yeah.
I couldn't not do it if I tried. I can't skip that step.
I can't. I try to be lazy brewing, but I can't not rinse my paper.
Yeah. No matter what anyone says, always rinse your paper. It's important. It's part of the step.
Yeah.
Just respect the process.
Yeah. So by wetting your paper, rinsing it, you're preheating the brewer itself and a cup underneath.
And also, if you're rinsing a Chemex filter, that is noticeably thicker, so you should rinse more than you would with a V60.
Yeah, I rinse a lot. I rinse almost 200 grams of water.
Yeah. If you think you're done, just keep going.
Don't pour on the wall.
You can, but just don't keep doing it because sometimes the grounds are on the wall. So you just do maybe one rotation. Just
to clean it, get the coffee grounds away from the wall, and then you brew it again, and then
yeah, so that they're not missing out on being extracted.
It's fine to brew it on the wall. It's fine.
And what causes your brew to choke up? There's a few things that come into it. So 1 is your grind size, 2 is the way you pour / agitation.
And then the third one will be the beans itself.
Okay, so number 1, the grind size. If your brew is choking up, it might be that...
Are you
Are you bored?
Trying to yawn. There you go.
It could be too fine, and so while you keep brewing, it's not even flowing.
If you got a really fast flow rate, means it's time to dial your coffee finer. If you got a really slow brew, then put up a click or 2 from your grinder to make it coarser.
The other one is the way you pour. If you're pouring really hard on the coffee bed, you're creating a lot of agitation, and that might cause the fines to kind of drop and settle, and that will block up the paper, which will in turn choke your brew. Another thing is how many times you're pouring.
If you keep it to one single pour, all the way up to like 240, 250 grams of water, then that way you should have an alright flow rate. The type of beans, because some beans can be really tricky to brew.
Yeah, the most common one is with Ethiopians. So usually you have to kind of increase the grind size, and then you just lessen the amount of pouring that you're doing in total, and that should help. So now we're going to talk about grind size and how to dial in a good grind size for you.
For you guys.
For you guys.
Or for you.
Okay.
So the best way to start with choosing the grind size will be maybe start with a medium grind size and then see how your first brew turns out.
Start with a medium grind size as a baseline. Apply it to whatever brewer that you're using.
Yeah, and then you time it as well, and then you can see, oh, if you want it to be a shorter brew time, then
just adjust accordingly. In terms of dialing in with your grinder at home, you can get like a sample maybe from your local coffee shop for like a medium grind size.
I mean, I'm sure they're happy to give like a teaspoon of the grind size for you to bring it home. Yeah. From there on, it'll be just trial and error.
Also, you can always ask them if they have any old beans that they don't want, and then you can go ahead and use that to dial in your beans, because you don't want to be wasting all your good beans, you know what I mean? Yeah, so just play around with your grinder, see which one matches up the best with the grind size that they gave you, and then write it down.
Write it down. So when I first started, I got a tiny notebook. So I'll write down what coffee beans I'm brewing, how much coffee I'm using, how much water and water temperature and time. I got a tape next to it. So I got my grind size, and then I put it on the tape and then tape it on my notebook so I can tell this is what grind size I use. That's how I first started. And I think it's pretty good. I mean, it's a little bit extra, but I think by doing that, I'm sure you guys will improve your brew. By writing down your recipe, you will know what to adjust for the next brew. Means if this brew is not good, if you find it slightly under extracted, you know what to adjust for the next brew.
How do they know if it's over extracted and under extracted?
So I think it's good to go out to your local coffee shop, had a chat with them and ask them the taste profile and how to taste coffee, and then you guys will know, oh, this is how this coffee actually tastes like. And then when you bring it home, try to imitate the coffee, and then that's how you learn.
An easy experiment to do at home: make up 2 brews, keep everything the same except for the grind size. One really coarse and then one fine. Generally speaking, under extracted, you'll be getting something really light,
watery,
too diluted, like
hardly,
not much depth to it.
Hardly coffee flavor in there.
And then with the over extracted, usually it's bitter, dry, astringent kind of finish.
Yeah, or like really thick and bitter and
really unpleasant. I think you'll know it once you taste it. With all this like coffee thing, you have to develop your taste palate. You have to
and then brew a lot at home. It's always good to actually go down to your local coffee shop and understand, the coffee or story behind the beans or the roaster. Just, understand a little bit more.
It's kind of hard to learn on your own, so
always have the attitude of keen to learn. Not just because, you've been brewing coffee every day at home means you know everything. No. Even though it's like we're brewing coffee every day, but there's always something to learn about coffees and the tasting notes and stuff. Just taste your coffee and be like?
Critical.
Yeah.
And then maybe talk to the barista to see like if you guys are getting the same things out of the coffee. That's a good way to learn as well. Yeah.
After understanding the whole under extracted and over extracted, it's time to do some changes to your brew, but always change one thing at a time. Means, you got your recipe down. Let's say the second day you're going to brew the same beans and you trying to improve your brew. always change one thing.
Yeah, don't go changing the grind size and the water temperature and the ratio.
Yeah.
Like, if it tastes good, how do you know what was the thing that made it better?
Yeah.
Ratios. Our golden ratio is 1 to 15. That's the ratio that we prefer.
Really? Is that 1 to 15? Yeah, okay, yours is 15, mine is 15.5.
Okay, sorry. My preferred ratio is 1 to 15. His is 15.5. Okay?
Yep.
Are you happy with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
People usually recommend anything between 1 to 15 to 1 to 17. If you like a little bit lighter coffee, then you can use like a 1 to 17 ratio. But I think we usually prefer 1 to 15, 1 to 15.5. That's like a pretty good ratio for us that we kind of enjoy drinking.
Yeah, I find 1 to 17 is too watery.
Yeah, same. Give it a try and then you'll know which ratio you like.
Water temperature. What temperature is the best? You tell me. You tell me. I don't know.
This one's hard because this one is controversial.
Yeah.
Because you can go on and talk about what different temperature brings out in the coffee, depending on the process of the coffee as well. In general, the cooler the water temperature, the sweeter the cup is what people say, right?
Yeah. Then if you're using like a 94 degrees, then you'll be bringing out a lot more of the bright side of the coffee. I would say try boiling water, try 94 degrees, try 90 degrees, 85, 80, and then find which one is your preferred cup and then keep it that way for that specific coffee beans. Yeah.
Honestly, there's no right answer to this.
Yeah.
Again, to do your own experiment at home, do 2 same brews, but one with like a hotter temperature, one with a cooler temperature,
Yeah.
and then taste your coffee and see what the difference is.
Yeah, the best way is to do side by side
Comparison.
brew. Yeah.
And if you don't have a thermometer, so some kettles have that like built-in thermometer thing.
Then you can like preset 90, 95.
Yeah,
and,
if you have a thermometer
probe.
then that's good as well. But if you don't have one, then you can practice good habits. So for example, if you want to try and get like consistent brews, once the water boils, maybe time it like 5 minutes. So you know that every time you're using water that's been off the boil for 5 minutes. So that way you can keep track of the same water temperature each time you brew. One of the questions that we had on our Instagram, how do you reduce the amount of fines in your plunger coffee? So there's a few things that you can do. One, when you're plunging it, plunge it gently and slowly. And then also when you're pouring the coffee out.
Yeah, don't pour it all the way.
And just pour it gently as well. You can always sieve out the fines in the beginning before you brew if you find that it's really bothering you. And also, ultimate brew gear to invest in.
Ultimate brew gear to invest in. Ultimate. Only one. A scale? I mean, that's not brew gear, but... Oh, I know what's ultimate brew gear. It's not a scale. It's a scale, but a grinder.
Yeah, you're right. A grinder. Because you can use like the cheapest brewer, which we have before. We've bought one from Daiso before, and it works great.
Yeah, amazing.
It works
like
great.
Good, yeah. Get a really decent hand grinder.
If you just buy like a cheap hand grinder, like what, 8 months, 10 months down the line, maybe something is happening with it and you have to buy another one. And then the money you spend adds up in the end if you're gonna get 2 or 3 of the same cheap hand grinder.
Spend a little bit extra money and get just one hand grinder and then you'll be happy for life, you know?
Yep.
So ultimate brew gear, a hand grinder. Why? Because grind size matters, right? That's how you get a really consistent brew.
Yep.
That's all for this video. Hopefully the tips and the hacks that we just talked about will be useful for you guys. If you guys have more questions of how to brew coffee at home, make sure to comment down below. Like this video and subscribe to it. We got an Instagram page and we're currently having a merch as well.
Yeah.
It's a slow down tea, so it's about slowing down and enjoying coffee. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. Bye!